Part 1. The Flower of Fortune. Mahusikwa was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, where the sound of grinding mills echoed in the morning and the dust settled in layers on red earth by evening. A small growth point nestled in Mashonaland East, Mahusikwa thrived on the steady trade from the surrounding villages Sadza, Dima, Chikomba, Marandera. Farmers brought maize, women carried tomatoes in baskets on their heads, and children ran through the dusty streets with torn sandals and laughter in their eyes. It was here that Samson Kanong inherited Kanong General Dealers, a modest convenience store, from his father Samuel Kanong, a respected merchant known for fairness and humility. For a while, life was good. Samson married a soft-spoken village beauty, Alina Mufakwadzia, and together they had 2 children, Arina, born with the wide, curious eyes of a dreamer, and Junior, a boy whose laughter was louder than the roosters at dawn. But business wasn't the same as before. The competition had grown fiercer. Other shops like Mupejan Hamo Traders and Kudakwashi and Sons were chipping away at the customer base. Samson watched helplessly as people passed his store, choosing others over his. The income barely covered school fees and groceries. That's when desperation crept in, wearing the face of greed. One moonless night, he took a bicycle and rode out past the hills to find Nganga Mapamhadzi, the most feared native doctor in the province. People whispered of his powers, how he could summon wealth with a drop of blood, how he could twist fate like wet cloth. Nganga welcomed him in silence and offered him a clay pot with a strange flower-red bloom with 5 petals and a scent like wet soil after rain. "This is Ravingo Rupuma, the flower of fortune," he said in a voice that sounded older than his body. "Water it each morning with fresh cow milk before sunrise. 7 years of wealth, no questions asked. But forget once ... and your blessings will rot." Samson nodded, accepting the pot with trembling hands. "And my wife?" he asked. "Tell her it came from your ancestors in a dream. She will believe you." Many do. When Samson returned, he told Alina exactly that his ancestors had appeared to him in a dream, promising riches if he nurtured this sacred flower. She didn't question it. It was common among the Shona people to receive spiritual messages from the beyond. From that moment, their fortunes changed overnight. Customers flooded his shop like bees to honey. People came from villages far and wide. His competitors grew jealous and bitter, some closing down within months. Samson bought 2 minibuses and started a small rural transport business. He invested in cattle, bought a grinding mill, and even began renting rooms to local workers. Alina noticed the change but was grateful. She never missed praying over her children, and she believed their blessings were tied to Samson's devotion. For 7 years, the flower bloomed. Even on dry days when no clouds hung in the sky, the pot remained moist with milk. The petals glowed with life, and so did their bank account. But as riches grew, Samson grew lazy. At first, he'd rise at 4 a.m., light a candle, and walk barefoot to the flower, whispering a prayer as he poured milk into its roots. But with workers doing most of the labor and the shop now bustling without effort, he stopped caring. "Arna can water the flower," he told Alina one morning. "She's old enough. You trust her with cleaning. This is no different." Arina, now 13, was wise beyond her years. She helped her mother cook, cleaned after her younger brother, and always asked about the ancestors. She didn't question the flower. She accepted it the way a child accepts family secrets. She watered it diligently, until the day she forgot. Alina had gone to visit a sick aunt in Sek and came home late. Exhausted, she didn't ask Arina about the flower. She assumed it was done. That night, the wind howled louder than usual. The next morning, Samson walked to the shop expecting his usual crowd, but no one was there. He looked around, no bicycles leaning against the shop, no children begging for sweets, no women calling for sugar or cooking all. By 10 a.m., panic set in. His phone rang. It was one of his drivers. The minibus had broken down on the Morewa road. Soon after, Tinash, the mill operator, arrived, sweat on his forehead. "Boss, the grinder exploded. We can't even salvage the motor." Then came Mutawa, the cattle herder, dust in his eyes and fear in his voice. "Boss, 5 cows, lightning struck them. Dead. All of them." "What?" But there was no rain. It rained only for seconds. Thunder cracked, and they fell. Then the clouds disappeared. Samson's chest tightened. His stomach turned. He dropped the register and ran to his car, speeding home like a madman. Inside the house, Alina looked up, confused. "Samson, What happened? He didn't respond. He pushed past her into the room with the flower. It was dead. The petals were wilted. The soil was dry, the scent of milk replaced by the stench of decay. Samson turned sharply to his wife, fury on his face. You didn't water it. I wasn't here, Arina. He stormed toward Arina's room. Arina, you didn't water the flower. The girl stood frozen. I forgot, Baba. I'm sorry. His eyes flared, but he didn't speak another word. Instead, he left the house again, returning to the one place he hoped would fix this, Angangamupamhadzi. The old man stared at him for a long time. Then he shook his head slowly. There is no way to restore a dead bloom. There must be. I'll pay anything. There is one way, the Nganga said quietly. But it is not money I need. Samson leaned closer. You must lay with your daughter. Defile her, and the spirits will reward you with double what you had before. You must lay with your daughter. Defile her, and the spirits will reward you with double what you had before. Samson reeled back in horror. You're mad. The spirits do not care for your shame. They only demand payment. He left, heart pounding with rage and disbelief. But the longer he sat with his failing empire, the more the idea poisoned his mind. The flower was dead. His shop was collapsing. People laughed behind his back. He was becoming nothing. By the time he arrived home again, the idea had taken root like a dark seed. He waited for the right moment, when Alina would go to the market. Then he sat Arina down, calmly, and spoke in a low voice. My daughter, lay with me so we may become rich, like the businessman Munyama. Arina's mouth opened in silent shock. Her heart stopped. No, Baba, she whispered, trembling. I can't. She fled to her room, tears burning her cheeks, and she told no one. Arina changed after that day. The light in her eyes dimmed. Her laughter vanished. She no longer helped with chores the same way. She flinched when Samson entered the room and avoided sitting near him at dinner. Alina noticed the change, but the world around her was crumbling. Her husband's businesses collapsing, the flower's death, and the eerie silence in their once booming shop kept her mind distracted. But Arina's spirit was breaking. At school, her grades plummeted. A girl who once recited Shona poetry with pride now barely spoke in class. Her teachers noticed how her uniform hung looser on her growing frame, how her shoulders slumped as if she carried a weight too heavy for a child. 3 months passed. Then, a letter was sent home requesting a meeting. Alina walked the path to Mahusaqua Primary School with worrying in her heart. When she arrived, the headmaster and Arina's homeroom teacher sat her down in the staff room. Their faces were serious. My Arina, the headmaster began gently, we're concerned. Arina is no longer the same student we knew. She seems frightened, withdrawn. Is everything okay at home? Alina shook her head slowly. We've been going through hard times, yes. But I didn't know. I thought it was just stress. The teacher leaned forward. Sometimes, children don't speak unless we ask them directly. Especially girls, especially when the wounds are not on the outside. That evening, Alina boiled sadza in silence. She waited until Junior was asleep. Then, she took Arina outside under the moonlight and sat on a wooden stool beside her. Mwanangu, she said softly, please tell me the truth. What happened? Why are you shrinking inside yourself like this? Tears filled Arina's eyes, and for a moment she looked away. Then she whispered barely audible, Baba wants to sleep with me. Please share. Arina ran across the fence into the neighboring yard, where Baba Makwara's 5 sons were seated under a mango tree eating sadza and beans. They looked up as Arina tumbled forward into their midst, panting, wild-eyed, wrapped in a cloth. Please, help me. She sobbed. My father, he killed my mother. He tried to. Before she could finish, Samson appeared behind her, blood on his hands, his shirt stained red, eyes wild. Give me the girl, he growled. The Makwara boys stood up in unison. Tafajwa, the eldest, grabbed a hoe. Shadrach and Tinash picked up bricks. You've lost your mind, Sam, Tafajwa said. This ends here. She's no one's daughter now. She's under our protection. She's my daughter. Samson lunged forward, but they were quicker. In moments, they had subdued him and held him until the ZRP Zimbabwe Republic police arrived. The officers took him away in handcuffs as the neighborhood gathered. Some cried, others cursed his name. The once powerful man of Mahusaqua was now shackled, defeated. As the police car drove off, Arina sat on the Makwara's veranda, shaking in her mother's arms. Alina's body, now covered in a white cloth, lay still in the yard. The flower had died, and so had everything that once made Samson Kenong a man. Moral lessons. This story teaches that unchecked greed and abuse lead to destruction, while silence enables suffering. True strength lies in protecting the innocent, and communities must stand against evil. Justice, though painful, restores dignity and exposes the rot beneath false power. Please help me grow my Facebook and YouTube link in the bio.